Welcome to the annual meeting for Intapp Inc. Our host for today's call is John Hall, CEO and Chairman. I will now turn the call over to your host. Mr. Hall, you may begin, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2025 Annual Stockholders Meeting of Intapp Inc. I'm John Hall, CEO and Chairman of the Board of Directors of Intapp. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to be hosting our virtual meeting, which allows us to reach a greater number of our stockholders. We have stockholders attending via the web portal and the 800 number that we have provided. We will conduct the business portion of our meeting first, and then answer any questions at the end of the meeting. Though we may not be able to answer every question, we will do our best to provide a response to as many as possible. In keeping with the digital approach to this year's meeting, it is now 10 a.m. Pacific Time on November 18th, 2025, and this meeting is officially called to order. Now I would like to introduce the other members of the Board of Directors present today. In addition to myself, the members of the Board of Directors who are present today include Beverly Allen, Ralph Baxter, Martine Fichtner, Nancy Harris, Charles Moran, George Nebel, and Marie Week. In addition, David Morton, our Chief Financial Officer, and Stephen Todd, our General Counsel and Corporate Secretary, are here with us today. Also, Ian Nassman of Deloitte & Touche LLP, our independent auditors, is here today. Steve Todd will act as Secretary of the meeting. I will turn to him with any procedural issues that may arise.
Thanks, John. The company has appointed Broadridge Financial Services to act as Inspector of Election. Kathy Blackwell is with us today and has taken the oath of Inspector of Election. After the formal meeting has been adjourned, we'll provide time for general questions. Only validated stockholders may ask questions in the designated field on the web portal. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. However, no one attending via the webcast or telephone is permitted to use any audio recording device. The Board of Directors fixed September 23rd, 2025 as the record date for determining stockholders entitled to vote at this meeting. An affidavit has been delivered by Broadridge attesting to the fact that either 1, a notice of internet availability of the notice of the meeting, the proxy statement, and the 2025 annual report, or 2, the documents themselves were mailed on or about October 7, 2025, to all stockholders as of the record date and will be incorporated into the minutes of this meeting. The stockholder list shows that as of the record date, there were 81,787,131 shares of common stock outstanding and entitled to vote at the meeting. We're informed by the inspector that there are represented in person or by proxy shares of common stock representing 72,378,553 votes, or approximately 88.5% of the voting power on the record date. Since this represents more than a majority of the voting power of issued and outstanding stock entitled to vote on the record date, a quorum is present for purposes of transacting business. Therefore, the meeting is duly convened and open for business.
The polls are now open. Any stockholder who hasn't yet voted or wishes to change their vote may do so by clicking on the voting button on the web portal and following the instructions there. Stockholders who have sent in proxies or voted via telephone or internet and do not want to change their vote do not need to take any further action.
Now I will present the matters to be voted upon. Proposal 1 is to elect 3 Class II directors, Beverly Allen, Nancy Harris, and Marie Week, each to hold office until our annual meeting of stockholders in 2028 and until her successor is duly elected and qualified or until her earlier death, resignation, or removal. Proposal 2 is to ratify the appointment of Deloitte & Touche LLP as our independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2026. Proposal 3 is to conduct an advisory vote to approve named executive officer compensation, a so-called say-on-pay vote. Since no other director nominations or other stockholder proposals were properly filed in advance of this meeting, the business of this meeting is limited to the 3 matters that I've just noted. The Board of Directors recommends a vote for the election of each of the nominees on the ballot, for the ratification of Deloitte & Touche as our independent registered public accounting firm for the year ending June 30, 2026, and for the advisory vote to approve named executive officer compensation, the say-on-pay vote. The vote required for Proposal 1 for the election of directors by stockholders shall be the plurality of the votes cast with respect to a director nominee. This means that the 3 director nominees receiving the highest number of affirmative for votes will be elected. Approval of each of Proposal 2 and Proposal 3 requires, in each case, the affirmative vote of the holders of a majority of the voting power of the shares present at this annual meeting or represented by proxy and entitled to vote thereon.
Now that everyone has had the opportunity to vote, I now declare the polls for the 2025 annual stockholder meeting closed.
We've been informed by the Inspector of Election that the preliminary vote report shows that the nominees for election to the Board of Directors have been duly elected. The selection of Deloitte & Touche LLP as our independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2026 has been ratified, and the advisory vote to approve named executive officer compensation has been approved. We'll be reporting the final vote results in a Form 8-K to be filed within 4 business days. With that, turn the meeting back to John.
Thank you, Steve. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all of you for coming today. There being no further business to come before the meeting, the 2025 annual meeting of stockholders of Intapp is now adjourned. We can now take stockholder questions that are germane to the meeting and being entered today on the web portal. We're happy to take any questions if there are any.